know what's frustrating? We've got an AI that can explain quantum mechanics in a way that actually makes sense. It can write poetry, it can plan your holiday, it can debug or write your code. It's amazing and genuinely impressive. And then you say, can you remind me about that tomorrow morning? And it just can't.
Computer says no.
Or worse, it tells you that it will, and then it doesn't. It can plan your entire week, but it can't touch your calendar. It can tell you your server's fine right now, but it can't actually monitor it. All of that intelligence is chained into a chat window, not allowed to touch anything, like hiring a genius and then locking them in a cupboard. Now imagine if the AI could actually do things. Not just talk about doing things, actually monitor the server over time, actually organise your files, actually manage your smart home and monitor your inbox and plan your calendar out. And imagine all of that running on your hardware, in your house, under your control. Asterisk. That's OpenClaw. But what the heck is OpenClaw? Welcome to Foxy's Lab. I'm Foxy, and in this series I explain complex smart home, IoT and home lab concepts in a way that makes sense. In this episode we're talking about OpenClaw, a free open source platform that turns your computer into an AI assistant that doesn't just chat, it actually gets stuff done. And honestly, it's one of those things where the more you learn about it, the more your brain starts going, oh, this changes everything. So go grab a coffee, I'll get one too, and then we'll get into it. OpenClaw is a self-hosted AI agent platform. That's a lot of words, so let me break it down. Self-hosted means it runs on your own system, your PC, your Raspberry Pi, a server in your garage, or even a cheap VPS in the cloud. Whatever you've got. The software lives on your machine, not somebody else's. AI agent means it doesn't just answer questions, it takes actions. It can send messages through WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, Slack, iMessage, and over a dozen more. It can browse the web. It can run commands on your computer. It can manage files, set timers, check your emails, control your smart home. It's the difference between a chatbot that talks about doing things and an agent that actually rolls up its sleeves and gets things done. And platform is important here too. OpenClaw isn't a toolkit where you need to write a load of code to get anything working. It's a product. You install it, connect your messaging apps, talk to it, and it works. Think of it as the difference between buying flat pack furniture and hiring a carpenter to build you something bespoke from raw timber. The carpenter's approach gives you more flexibility, but you need to hire, or be, a carpenter. OpenClaw is the flat pack. It comes with instructions, you follow them, and then you've got a working bookshelf, software. You don't need to write code to make it work, though it certainly helps if you can. Now you might be thinking, hang on, isn't this just a fancy Siri? And I get why you'd think that, but Siri and the Amazon Echo are locked into their ecosystems. They can only do what Apple or Amazon have decided that they should be able to do, and they run on somebody else's cloud. OpenClaw runs on your hardware, connects to whatever you want it to, and you can customize its personality, its capabilities, and its behavior down to the last detail. It's not even the same category of thing. Frankly, calling any current smart speaker on the market a smart assistant is pure marketing hype. This thing is a world away from that. Now about that asterisk. When I say self-hosted and runs on your hardware, that's absolutely true. For the platform itself, all of your data, your configuration, your memory files, your conversations, all of that lives on your machine and never leaves it unless you want it to. Nobody else has access to it. That part is properly private. But, and this is a big but, the AI brain that powers OpenClaw is the clever bit that actually understands your messages and decides what to do. And that typically uses cloud AI services like Anthropic's Claude or OpenAI's GPT. So when you send a message, your prompt goes up to their servers, gets processed, and then the response comes back. Think of it like your house. Everything in your house is yours, it's private, it's under your control, but occasionally you'll need to call in a specialist, let's say an electrician, and then you have to let them in so that they can do their work. The cloud AI is the specialist. It comes in, does its job, and then leaves. Your house is still yours, but that specialist did see inside your bedroom, so it's a good idea to make sure you've still tidied away your unmentionables. You can run fully local AI models using something like Llama, which means nothing ever leaves your network at all, but right now local models still need serious hardware, and the results aren't anywhere near as good as the cloud models. Not yet anyway. For most people, the cloud approach is still the practical choice, and it's still significantly more private than using ChatGPT or Claude directly, because those services store your conversations on their servers. OpenClaw doesn't. I'm afraid there's another asterisk coming later for the free part, but We'll get to that. Here's a quick history, and I do mean quick because this project has moved at a bonkers pace. OpenClaw was created by a guy called Peter Steinberger. Now, Steinberger isn't some random hobbyist tinkering in his spare room. He previously founded a company called PSPDFKit, a PDF framework that ended up being used by the likes of Apple and Dropbox, among others. He bootstrapped that company with no venture capital, grew it into a serious business, and eventually exited with a €100 million investment before stepping back. That background matters because it tells you this isn't just someone's weekend side project, despite what he claims. This is a serious piece of software built by somebody who knows how to build serious pieces of software. The project started life in late 2025 under the name ClawdBot. Got a polite nudge from Anthropic about the trademark similarities, briefly became Maltbot for about 3 days, and then settled on OpenClaw. It's built on TypeScript and Node.js, and you can install it through npm or Docker if you want to get it up and running quickly. What happened next was kind of unprecedented. The project absolutely exploded. I mean, properly, absurdly, break the internet exploded. OpenClaw has over 300,000 GitHub stars, which is staggering for any open source project, let alone one that's not even 6 months old yet. Now, I should be careful here because GitHub stars are a popularity metric, not a quality metric. Loads of people starring a project means loads of people are interested in it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's better or more important than something with fewer stars, but as a measure of sheer momentum and excitement, the growth has been extraordinary. Then, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, personally announced Steinberger would be joining OpenAI. There'd been a bidding war with Meta also trying to recruit him. OpenAI won, and as part of the deal, Steinberger announced plans to move the project to an independent foundation to make sure it stays open source regardless of corporate involvement. I should be clear though, the foundation has been announced, but it's not fully set up yet. The governance details are still being worked out, so keep an eye out on that space. OpenClaw has its own vocabulary, and if you go looking through tutorials without knowing it, you'll spend half of your time confused. So before we go any further, here are the terms you'll need to know. The gateway is the heart of OpenClaw. It's the main process that runs on your machine and manages everything. Your messaging connections, your agents, your tools, all of it. It's basically the receptionist at a busy office. Every message comes through the gateway, figures out where it needs to go, and then makes sure the right things happen.
Dunder Mifflin, this is Kevin. Please hold while I transfer you.
You start the gateway, OpenClaw is running. You stop the gateway, it's not. Simple as that. An agent is the AI personality that actually talks to you and does things on your behalf. You can have one agent or multiple agents, each with their own personality, their own capabilities, and their own workspace. Think of each agent as a different employee in your office. One might handle your emails, another might manage your calendar, another might do research. They all work through the same gateway, but they each have their own job. And if you configure them to do so, they can each have their own memory too, which makes them incredibly powerful. A channel is how an agent connects to a messaging platform. WhatsApp is a channel, Telegram's a channel, Discord, Slack, iMessage, you get the idea. Your agent doesn't care which channel a message comes from. It processes them all the same way. So you can chat to the same agent on WhatsApp from your phone and Discord from your laptop, and it's the same brain, the same context. Whatever you said to it on Telegram, it will remember that on Discord, as long as both channels are connected to the same agent. The channel is just the doorway. A skill is a modular add-on that gives your agent new capabilities. Skills are written as markdown files, which means they're just text documents that tell the agent how to do something specific. There are over 100 bundled with OpenClaw out of the box, and hundreds more available from the community. Want your agent to check the weather? There's a skill for that. Want it to manage your Git repositories? Go grab that skill. Control your smart home? Oh, you know there's a skill for that. Skills are basically apps for your agent. Each one adds a new ability. And yes, I did just do there's an app for that bit. I'm not sorry, we're bringing it back. A heartbeat is OpenClaw's way of being proactive rather than just reactive. By default, roughly every 30 minutes, although that's configurable, the agent wakes up on its own and checks if there's anything it should be doing. You can configure what it's going to check by editing a simple text file or just by talking to it. It's like having an assistant who pops their head in every half an hour and say, anything you need, boss? Except it's also smart enough to just look at the task list and crack on without being asked. And finally, a node is a companion device that extends your agent's reach. OpenClaw has apps for iOS, Android, and macOS that connect back to your gateway and give the agent access to things like your camera, your screen, your location, and your notifications. So your agent isn't just stuck on the server, it can see through your phone's camera, check where you are, or read your notifications. Nodes are the agent's eyes and ears in the physical world.
That doesn't sound... Is that safe?
Now, all of the above may be making some of you feel a bit uneasy, and honestly, you'd be right to feel that way. we'll get to that in the gotchas. I've been trying out OpenClaw for the last week or so. I've been using it as a studio assistant for this channel. It connects to my Notion workspace, my YouTube analytics, my server infrastructure. All of it is controlled through a simple Telegram bot. Every morning I get a briefing. Channel stats, any comments that need responding to, and what's on my schedule for the day. I don't have to go looking for any of that, it just shows up. Before this, I'd have to open YouTube Studio, check Notion, look at my calendar, and half the time, I'd get distracted by something else before I finished. ADHD is a gift that keeps on giving. I also use it for research. I can send it off to dig into a topic and it'll come back with findings, sources, and a summary. It won't always get everything right. I still have to manually verify everything myself, but it saves me hours of initial legwork. And I use it to help organize my content plan in Notion, updating databases, keeping track of what's filmed, what's edited, what's scheduled. It's a Notion power user that never gets bored of admin, which is very handy because I get bored of admin in about 4 minutes. And this is the one that'll appeal to the homelabers out there. Server monitoring. If something goes down on my network, I'll get a ping on Telegram. Not on email I'll forget to check, not a notification I'll swipe away, an actual message that goes bing on my phone. That's really useful. It's like having a mate who's watching your servers while you sleep, which sounds kind of creepy now I say it out loud. You could even use it to run commands on those servers if you wanted to, but I don't quite trust it enough for that yet. Sure, services exist for that already. I could and do use Uptime Kuma or something like that, but that requires configuring. This didn't. I just told Jeff, my main agent's called Jeff, to keep an eye on my servers and let me know if anything goes wrong, and off it goes. Not only can it notify me of an issue, it can also help me diagnose it in the message. So rather than getting a message that says your server is offline, it will tell me my server is offline, this is the reason, here's the possible fix. Now, in terms of costs, and this is answering that second asterisk, by the way, it varies wildly depending on what you're doing. If you're using it for really like personal assistant stuff, you're looking at a reasonably small amount a month in token costs. The software itself is completely free and open source. The costs come from the AI models you use through their APIs and optionally from hosting if you don't want to run it on your own hardware that you already own. For light use, it's not going to bankrupt you. Asterisk. You do have to be very careful though. For example, I woke up one morning to find my Claude usage completely maxed out, just gone, and I hadn't touched it for over 10 hours. I'd been asleep. Turns out I'd set the heartbeats too aggressively. I had it checking several different things every 30 minutes using a top-tier model, so while I was sleeping, my AI was happily munching through my entire API quota like it's a bag of what's-its on game night. I've had to turn it off and rethink the whole setup. Lesson learned. I'm seriously considering starting from scratch with a local model, which is easy enough for me because I've got a beefy GPU sitting around not doing much outside of occasionally gaming, but most people won't have that option, so be warned. Now, I was lucky because I use a Claude Max subscription rather than pay-as-you-go. That means I hit a usage cap and not a bill. If you've already got a Claude Max subscription or a subscription to another compatible cloud model, you can connect it directly to OpenClaw instead of paying for API access separately. That's what I do, and honestly, if you're an even remotely heavy user, it's almost certainly the smarter move. But even on a subscription, heavy OpenClaw usage can eat into the quota you normally use for other things, which is exactly what happened to me. If you're enjoying this video, give me a like and hit subscribe. Have you tried OpenClaw or anything like it yet? I'm fascinated with what's happening in the AI agent space right now, and I really want to hear what you lot are doing with it. Drop it in the comments. If there are any topics you'd like me to cover in a future What the Heck video, let me know in the comments and I'll stick it on a list. Alternatively, you can hit me up on our Discord server. Link in the description, or you can scan the QR code right here. Look, I genuinely love OpenClaw. I can see countless uses for it, and it's really exciting. But I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't talk about the things that can bite you. And some of them can bite quite hard. Welcome to the gotchas. Should I have said pinch? It is lobster after all. Let's start with the big one. Security. OpenClaw gives your AI agent the ability to run commands on your computer, browse the web, access your files, manage your messaging accounts, and interact with your network. If your bank account has an API, nothing stops you from giving it direct banking access too. That's a lot of power. And with great power comes great responsibility.
Sure thing, Uncle Ben.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Security incidents have happened with exposed OpenClaw installations. People have set it up, left it accessible from the internet without proper authentication, and bad things have followed. The default configuration trusts your local network, which is sensible for getting started, but if you expose it to the internet without hardening it first, you're essentially leaving your front door wide open with a sign saying, "Come on in, the AI will do whatever you ask it to."
Ours for the taking.
There have been real security vulnerabilities found in OpenClaw. Serious ones. The kind where somebody could potentially take control of your machine remotely if you haven't locked things down properly. Security researchers have found tens of thousands of exposed OpenClaw installations online, and a significant chunk of those had no authentication whatsoever. Malicious skills have been found on the community marketplace as well, designed to steal data. This is not a theoretical risk. This has actually happened. If you install OpenClaw, hardening your security setup is not optional. It's the first thing you should do. Treat it like buying a house. You wouldn't leave the front door unlocked just because the estate agent handed you the keys. Okay, it's time to deal with that last asterisk. Remember when I said the API costs won't bankrupt you for light use? Well, for heavy use, or even moderate use of the wrong settings, they actually might. If you're using pay-as-you-go API access, which is how most people will start, and you don't set a spending cap, this thing can, and probably will, run up a bill that makes your eyes water, or maybe even literally ruins your life. Every heartbeat, every message, every background check, that's using tokens, and tokens cost money. If you set up aggressive automation using a premium model and then forget about it for a day or so, you could come back to a bill that will rival that time you fell asleep while talking on that premium rate phone line. We've all done that, right? Set spending limits on your API accounts. I'm not joking. Do it before you start, not after you get the bill. If you have this running already and you're not sure you set spending limits, seriously, pause the video and go take care of it right now. There's a technical skill flaw that's worth being honest about as well. This isn't a consumer product in the way that Siri or the Echo are consumer products. You do need to be comfortable with the command line. You do need to understand basic networking concepts. You do need to be able to edit the configuration files. If you've ever set up a homelab or deployed a Docker container, you'll probably be absolutely fine. If you haven't done any of that before, it doesn't mean you can't learn, just means you've got a bit of a learning curve ahead of you. It is getting easier. I've seen people who aren't particularly technical get it running over a weekend. And once it's up and going, you can actually get it to help maintain itself, which is brilliant and slightly terrifying in equal measure. Just be careful if you are doing this without experience. Even the actual code maintainers admit that using this without knowing how to use a command line can be dangerous. Always remember, this tool is exceptionally powerful. Do not take that power for granted. OpenClaw development is moving fast, like really fast. The kind of growth this project has seen means the codebase is evolving rapidly. Features are being added constantly, and occasionally things break between updates. If you want rock-solid stability and never want to deal with a breaking change, this might frustrate you. If you're comfortable being on the cutting edge and you don't mind the occasional hiccup, you'll love it. This is very new software, and you're getting in right at the start. And new software always has issues. If you can't accept that risk, maybe wait until it's a bit more mature. And finally, be careful with unmonitored automation and think very carefully about nodes. OpenClaw is designed to work autonomously, that's its superpower, but an autonomous AI agent with access to your computer, your messaging accounts, and the internet is something you're going to want to keep an eye on, especially when you're just getting started. Those nodes I mentioned earlier, the companion apps that give your agent access to your phone's camera, location, and notifications, are giving your AI a direct line into your physical world. Security researchers have shown that compromised OpenClaw installations can give attackers full remote access to your system. And if your nodes are connected to that system, that access could theoretically extend to your phone. Not because OpenClaw is designed to spy on you, but because that's what access to a device means. If something goes wrong, that access goes both ways. Start with supervised tasks. Watch what it does. Build trust gradually. Don't give it the keys to the kingdom on day one and then go to bed. That's how surprises happen, and not the fun kind. Right, so how do you actually use this thing sensibly? Here's a list of rules and best practices that you should bear in mind. Rule 1. Harden your security before doing anything else. I talked about this in the gotchas, but it bears repeating because it's that important. Before you connect a single messaging app, before you give it access to anything important, go through the security configuration, set up authentication, enable sandbox mode, configure your allow lists. If you're going to access it remotely, use Tailscale or a VPN rather than exposing ports to the internet. The official docs have a security section. Read it, follow it. Don't skip it because you're excited to get started playing. I know it's tempting, but do the boring security stuff first. Also, do not install it directly on your main computer. Install it on a spare machine or in a VM. The online community loves to tell everyone to buy a Mac Mini. Feel free if you want to, Mac Minis are cool, link down below, but I've got it running on an ancient B-Link mini PC and it's doing fine. Rule 2. Monitor your API spending. Look, I'm sorry to hammer on this point, but I see a lot of beginners using this tool and I'm genuinely frightened for some of you. You heard what happened to me with the heartbeats, and I've been a homelab nerd and a software engineer for nearly 30 years. Don't learn that lesson the hard way. Set spending alerts and hard caps on your cloud AI accounts from day one. If you've already got a Claude Max subscription or another subscription model that allows you to do this, connecting it directly is probably the smarter move. But even then, keep an eye on your usage until you understand its patterns. For me, it just meant that I had to do everything manually at work for one morning, but honestly, it could have been so much worse. Rule 3. Be careful with community skills. Remember how I mentioned malicious skills on the marketplace? This is an open ecosystem, which means anyone can publish a skill. Most of them are brilliant and genuinely useful, but some have been found with nasty stuff hidden inside. Data stealers, crypto miners, the works. Treat community skills like you treat a random app on your phone. Check who made it, look at the reviews, keep an eye out for red flags. Stick to well-known, well-reviewed skills until you're confident enough to vet them yourself. Rule 4. Start small. Don't try to build the ultimate AI assistant on day one. Connect one messaging channel. Give it 1 or 2 skills. See how it works. Learn how it thinks. Understand its quirks. Then expand gradually. The temptation to go all in immediately is strong, I know, but resist it. You'll learn more from a simple setup that works than from a complex one that confuses you. Rule 5. Keep it updated. Given how fast this project is moving, staying on the latest version is important, both for features and security. New patches fix vulnerabilities, add capabilities and improve stability. Running an old version of OpenClaw is like running an old version of Windows, except without the nostalgia. The latest versions are much better at helping you secure your installation, and it's only going to improve over time. To be frank, OpenClaw isn't for everyone. Not yet, anyway. If you only use AI to answer questions or have a chat, you open ChatGPT, get your answer, close the tab and get on with your day, or if you're just using it to help you with coding tasks, then you probably don't need an always-on AI agent running tasks for you. OpenClaw is solving a problem that you don't actually have, and that's completely fine. Homelabbers, on the other hand, will feel right at home. You've already got the hardware sitting there, you've got the skills, and the idea of an AI assistant that's always on, watching your systems, handling tasks proactively without you having to ask. It's like having an IT department working for you. Honestly, it's kind of the dream.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Developers and power users who are frustrated by how limited ChatGPT Claude are when it actually comes to doing things will find that OpenClaw removes those limitations entirely. It gives your AI the ability to interact with the real world, not just talking about doing it. Privacy-conscious folks will appreciate the local-first architecture too, with the Cloud API caveat we talked about earlier, obviously. And if you're just curious, if you've been watching the AI space and thinking, this is all fascinating, but I want to tinker with it myself, honestly, OpenClaw is one of the most interesting things happening in the AI consumer space right now. The learning curve is real, but the community is incredibly helpful and the documentation is really good. The only wrong approach is jumping in without understanding the significant risks that software this powerful can bring. And now you do. So that's OpenClaw, a free, open-source, self-hosted AI agent platform that turns your own hardware into an AI assistant that actually does things. It's not perfect, the security needs your attention, the costs need monitoring, the pace of change can be dizzying, but for a project this young, what the community has built is seriously impressive. I think we're only seeing the beginning of what self-hosting AI agents can actually do. It really does feel like a sneak peek into the future. My advice, start small, watch your spending, don't give it the keys to everything on day one, and the official docs are genuinely well written, so start there. I'm truly excited about where this goes. The power is terrifying, but also incredibly thrilling to think about. I can only imagine how much cooler this stuff is going to get in the coming months and years. If you do build something cool with it, please come tell me about it, either in the comments or on our Discord. I'd love to hear what you've accomplished. What the Heck is an ongoing series where I explain the ins and outs of tech. I try to post a new video every week, so if you want to be notified when the next episode drops, hit the bell and YouTube will make sure you're kept in the loop. If you're watching this and you haven't got a clue about how any of this AI stuff works, check out my What the Heck is an LLM video right here to get you started. Now go get your claws into AI. Ta-ra!